Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jay and welcome back to another next gen video. Today we'll be doing a deck profile on the Storm deck that I've been working on. So this one is as of set 2. There are some set 3 cards that I've added but I removed just because I didn't really want to spoil set 3 yet. I know it's already out and you can get the cards, but I haven't really released it on the channel. Anyways, enough of that jibber jabber jibbities. We're gonna go into the deck list. We got Clyde Webb starting it off, our main man, the Storm leader. He can only be played if there are 4 or more Storm cards that are banished, and that may seem a lot, but it's actually pretty easy with this deck because it does revolve around banishing your Storm cards, your Storm characters. And now his other effect is that every time you destroy a character, you guys must roll a d20, and if you roll higher than your opponent, you can use one of the options that are listed below. Banish one of your characters, attack again, draw 2 cards, or end the battle phase. So you know you got a little bit of draw power, you got a little bit more of aggressiveness, or you can just be like, yo, screw it, I'm gonna end the battle phase. Now here's a little trick here. If you feel that you are lucky, then you can do this. Okay, for the first roll, if you do roll higher than your opponent, then you can banish one of your characters and attack again. And that's beneficial because 1, you can banish a Storm character that can ultimately lead you up to set up more notable calls, or that by itself is a notable call, to attack again with Clyde Webbs. And then after that, if you're feeling lucky, roll another d20 if you do manage to kill another character, and then just end the battle phase from there. You know, if Clyde Webbs is able to attack first, then he could just keep on attacking, and then just kind of end the battle phase if he wants to, you know. So it kind of stops your opponent from being aggressive, using their units on the field. So that's why it's kind of important to kind of have Clyde Webbs there faster than your opponent, so that way they don't have anyone faster than Clyde Webbs. So let's go into the next card. So obviously we're gonna have his brother Jack Webb, Storm Commando. Now his first effect is godly. All right, all ally characters, Storm characters, gain +1/+1 when this card enters the battlefield. Having that +1/+1 in armor and attack is just going to help boost and make your cards, your units, your characters a little bit stronger. That +1/+1 can go a long way. Its secondary effect can help you get Clyde Webbs onto the field. However, you're gonna have to have the materials, the requirements, by the time you summon Jack Webbs, because if you don't have it, then you can't really use this secondary effect. Next, we're gonna go into Emperor Bronson. Now this card is a little bit counteractive. Is that the word, counter? It does counter the deck a bit because it does have a recurring effect that no other units can be notable called to the field, but only normal upgrades and normal calls can be used. So I know that this deck does have a lot of notable calls and a lot of just a lot of notable calls, getting your Storm characters from your banish, or notable calling it from your hand. If you have this card late game and you've already set up the field, and it's an 11 attack beater, Emperor Bronson can go a long way. And not to mention, he is easy to be notable called because Pimp Bronson's effect does banish Pimp Bronson by itself, so you don't have to have a card that banishes Pimp Bronson. Good to have him late game. Early game, I mean, it's okay, you know, if you can have him early game, but it will make things a little bit slower. And if you want to run that pace, by all means, go for it. The second last Gen 4 card that we have is Alexi, the living puppet, not planet. Now this card is good, mainly for its secondary effect, but I'll read out its first effect. If this card is going to fall, draw a card. If the card you drew is a villain character, you can banish that card instead of sending this card to the fallen. Again, very, very beneficial if you do end up banishing a villain card, but you also got to take in consideration of the essential cards. So if you do banish an essential card, or if you do get an essential card, then it does kind of suck, and Alexi does have to die. You know, the majority of your deck, I would like to say above 50% are villain characters, so the chances of Alexi surviving some attacks are very, very high. But its secondary effect is once per turn you can pay 5 life points to notable call a Gen 1/1/1 puppet token, and you can sacrifice 2 puppet tokens to take control of an enemy character. I don't know about you, but this is actually pretty good. If you want to keep controlling the field and take that advantage, just wait 2 turns and basically in total pay 10 life points to summon these 2 tokens, in which you can sacrifice those tokens to basically take control of an enemy character. Any ways of just kind of limiting your opponent's field is just really good. And the last Gen 4 is Jinx. I only run 1 Jinx. Now this is because it is kind of hard to play Jinx. I know that we do banish a lot of characters, but when you have like Clyde Webbs and Jack Webbs and Alexi and Emperor Bronson, you know, you don't really need Jinx. Although its secondary effect is pretty good. Once per turn, you can pay 5 life points to banish 1 character on the field. Now we're gonna go on to the next cost here. We got running 3 Mist Storms. This Mist Storm allows you to basically have her on the field, but she's also a good way to kind of kamikaze the battlefield, if that makes sense. If you feel like, you know, your opponent's kind of being a little too fast, you can bring in Mist Storm and just banish 4 cards in your hand to destroy all characters on the field. Yes, I know this could be bad, but you got to take in consideration that those 4 cards that are banished in your hand could be beneficial to bring out more characters, and now you have the advantage over your opponent. So if you don't want to use her effect, then she's a really great 3 cost character, or Gen 3 character. You got 7 armor, 8 attack, 5 speed, a very strong beater. Next, we're running Jackson Storm. Now, Jackson Storm allows you to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and if they are all Storm characters, you can keep 2 and either discard or banish the other card. That's just easy draw power. You know, sometimes they're not going to be all Storm characters, even though you're running a lot of Storm cards in your deck. Even just taking 1 and discarding the rest sets up your field, sets up the gameplay that you're going to run a lot more quicker. So Jackson Storm is a really good card to have. And now Pimp Bronson, like I said, this is the effect I was talking about. You can banish this card in your fallen area to add up 3 fallen villain characters to your top of the deck in whatever order you like. You know, if you want to kind of restart and kind of have the right cards to draw during the next turn, Pimp Bronson is your man. And of course, with him being banished, you can bring in Emperor Bronson. Next, the last Gen 3, we're gonna have Magix the Magical Man. We only have 1 because we all agreed that he needs to be limited at 1. Just look at his effect. His effect by itself should make him a villain. If your opponent controls more units than you, you can double call this card from your hand, and this card cannot be targeted by effects. Now you might be saying, okay, I don't get it. Well, basically, okay, if your opponent goes first and you go second and you have Magix the Magical Man in your hand, and they play a Gen 1 character, they immediately have more units. They immediately control more units than you, which means you can play a Gen 3 during your first turn, which is Magix the Magical Man. Pretty much, that's it. Now we're going to go on to the Gen 2s. We're running 3 Duals, the other Storm Ninja. If we're facing a lot of hero characters, I've noticed that I've been facing a lot of hero characters. You can basically call Dual the other Storm Ninja. This really goes well against cast spades, and then masked heroes as well. Those decks, my bad, are very hero oriented, especially the winter ones as well. That is the counterpart to the Storm decks. Next we got Odom. Now this one, I run 1. I used to run 2, but now I run 1 just because I don't really use his effect as often now. But it kind of just gives you the draw power and sets up your banish. So let me read it for you. For every villain character in your Fallen, draw 1 card followed by banishing the top card of your deck. Do this repeatedly until you have reached the same amount of villain characters originally in your Fallen. So let's say you have 5 Fallen villain characters in your Fallen. Then, you know, you start off with drawing 1 card, and then that's 1. Then you banish the other card, that's 2. Draw 1 card, 3. Banish the other card, 4. Draw 1 card, 5. There, like, that's basically what it is. This is only just to kind of like set up the banish up, and it's kind of giving you draw power as well if you're lacking in cards in your hand. But I realized as the more I played this deck, Odom wasn't really that important. You can add in 1 more if you want to. There's only 56 cards in this deck, so you can have up to 60. So you can add 1 more Odom if you feel like you need to have Odom. Next we have Oppo the Storm Doctor. When this card is banished by an ally Storm character effect, play it instead. So there you go. This is one of the cards that you can have notable called with effects that run through this deck, because sometimes there are cards that banish the top card of your deck, banish a Storm character in your Fallen. Oppo the Storm Doctor, a good card to have. Next we got the Mighty Storm. We're going to the Gen 1s now. Banish a card in your Fallen to notable call this card. as easy as it is. Next we got Storm Spy. You can banish the top card of your deck to no call this card to the field. So you see where I'm getting at. The Mighty Storm Spy, if you're able to banish Oppo with these guys' effects, then easily Oppo gets on the field as well. In your first turn, you can generally have a Mighty Storm and Oppo, so a Gen 1 and Gen 2 in the first turn, which is always beneficial if you want to keep up the pace and put pressure on your opponent. Next, we're going to run 3 Storm Spies. When this card is played, add a Gen 1 Storm character from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This will help you get cards like Storm Spy and the Mighty Storm, which again sets up the play for the Oppo and the other cards. Next, we got Storm Ninja. If this card is used as a sacrifice or upgrade to a Gen 2 or higher villain character, banish it instead. So this one kind of just sets up your banish, and it's fine. You're gonna run 3 of them just because you know how you want to have some Gen 1s, and if this card does get banished, it just early on lets you stack up the banish zone that you have to notable call more Storm characters. The second last Gen 1, but the last Storm Gen 1 that we have is Storm Recruit. Draw a card, banish the top card of your deck. A very great Gen 1 card. You draw a card and you banish the card, so you're setting up your field and you're getting draw power. So Storm Recruit, damn. The last Gen 1 is Pelicity. Again, card makes you negate the effect of a character on the field. So if your opponent has like, oh, this card allows me to normal call this card and this with this effect, then Pelicity, easy discard, negate the effect, and stop them from doing whatever they want to do. So now let's get on to the essential cards. Now, of course, we're running 1 super deep impact. We limited it to 1. Destroy all cards on the field. As easy as it is. Kamikaze, restart the field. The next card that we're running is Oh Snap. You can banish 1 card in your hand to destroy 1 unit on the field. Again, banishing, setting up your banish zone so you can notable call more cards. And in the secondary, you can destroy a card on the field. So if your opponent is going to have all these cards on the field, might as well get rid of one of them while setting up your banish. Next, we got Banishing Portal. If your opponent notable calls a character, you can play this card to banish it instead. So if I'm playing a mirror match with the Storm, or for example, and they want to keep like spamming Banishing Portal. Although I wouldn't use Banishing Portal on Storm, considering that they do use the banish zone to their advantage, but you get the point of it. Next, we got Champion's Revival. Revive 1 unit from your fallen to your side of the field. Kind of a staple card for a deck, I'm pretty sure. Just allows you a free revive from your fallen and brings the character back if you're falling behind, so it's a good card. Stone Boy, we're only running 1 of these. Interchangeable. I can add 1 more if I wanted to, but if this card is equipped to a Storm character, their attacks cannot be blocked. So Clyde Webs could be dangerous with Stormy Bowie. Okay, definitely a good card to have. That's why I'm like interchangeable, but it being a Gen 3, it is kind of hard, but it's okay, it does the job. Next, we got Mark of the Death Dragon. Search your deck for a Gen 1 villain character and noble call it to the field. As easy as it is. Probably one of the best cards in the game. So now with Mark of the Death Dragon, you can use it to bring in Storm Stalker, which then allows you to add a Gen 1 Storm character from your deck to your hand, which that could be Storm Spy, and the combo goes on, blah blah blah. You get the point, right? Or you can get in Storm Recruit, which allows you to draw a card, banish the top card of your deck. So Mark of the Death Dragon is easily one of the best cards in this deck, and if you can get this in turn 1, you're set for life. And the last card is Snowfall. Discard or banish 1 card from your hand to add 1 card from your fallen or banish to your hand. So generally, this card just allows you to just swap some cards that you don't want in your hand with a card maybe that's in your banish or fallen that was like, hey, you know what? I don't really want that in my banish or fallen. I kind of need that in my hand so I can play it. Bada bing, bada boom, you got Snowfall, and now you got them in your hand. That is pretty much the tech profile for the Storm. Yeah, let me know what you think. I think this deck is actually pretty decent, pretty good. They swarm the field a lot. They are a little bit weaker when they do swarm, but it's all good. It's all good because the moment you get like Clyde Webs on the field, Alexi, Emperor Bronson, and Jack Webs, you are good to go. So pretty much that is it. I do apologize that this is on untap.in. I would wish that I would have it on my physical copy, but I don't have a tripod, and the first time I did it seemed kind of messy, but that doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a lovely audience. If you guys want to see more next gen video, again, comment, like, subscribe. Lets me know that you guys enjoy the videos. And pretty much that's it. Until next time, peace out. Love you. Appreciate you. Later.